Hey guys, this week on Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast, I've got a good friend of mine. I've got a fellow bear archery shooter. I've got Shane Mowery, the Bone Maniac. I've recently kind of just got this, obsession with mountain lions. I've never hunted them. I've always wanted to, but I've recently just kind of been on this obsession with mountain lions. And so I am joined by Shane. We talk all things mountain lions. We talk about the impact they have. We talk about how to hunt them, the success rate of hunting them. We talk about even trying to spot and stalk hunt mountain lions with a bow, which is nearly impossible, but it'd be a good time. We also kind of jump into how people overcomplicate archery, unnecessarily overcomplicate archery, and how if we could just get back to simplifying it down and enjoying the sport of archery, we would all be happier. We'd all be more successful. We go on a couple rants, of course, but it's a good episode. I would highly encourage you to tune in. As always, this episode is brought to you by our good friends at ScentLock. Guys, really, you've heard me talk about them a ton, but the guys at ScentLock are just absolutely phenomenal. And I promise you, if you've ever walked into a Cabela's and just felt and tried on ScentLock, it was incredibly high quality gear. What I love about ScentLock is you can get the highest quality gear that you would ever need, and it's not going to break the bank. And we talk about that in this episode about, not having to spend thousands of dollars on clothing so you can then allocate that money to go on more hunts. And that's exactly what ScentLock's going to allow you to do. They're going to provide you phenomenal clothing, but they're also not going to break the bank, and you'll be able to put that money towards going on bigger, better hunts that you've always wanted to go on. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Bear Archery's Hunting 101 podcast, where hunters new and old come to learn and find inspiration from stories of hunts gone by. Everyone is welcome to enjoy the outdoor way of life, and there is no better time to start than right now. So let's head into the great outdoors with your host, Dylan Ray.
Guys, if you're a traditional archer and you have not checked out Three Rivers Archery, what are you waiting for? Three Rivers Archery is your one-stop shop for all things traditional archery. They have the largest in-stock selection of traditional archery equipment anywhere. Same-day shipping, very, very, very knowledgeable. Listen, I use Three Rivers all the time. If I've got a question on tuning, if I've got a question on broadheads, if I've got a question on brace height or anything like that, I use Three Rivers for everything. They know the products because they use the products. Three Rivers Archery is by far the gold standard when it comes to traditional archery. So guys, if you're just getting into traditional archery, I would encourage you to use Three Rivers as a resource for knowledge and understanding and growing and learning, and as a place to get all those products that you're going to be needing as you take this journey. All right, Shane, we got you coming live from the Bat Cave there. It looks like you got some coffee you're slugging down, and
yeah, some dead animals in the back. So yeah, it's it's where I try to make all the magic happen.
Yeah, no kidding. Were you hit with this? Were you hit with some crazy snowstorms this week, or what?
Not so much. They were calling for it, and we had a little bit of snow yesterday. We went over to Missoula through the pass yesterday and met up with some folks, and they were like, well, I don't know if we should, but, because the storm was coming in, we had a few flurries. So, Once again, if you're a weatherman, you can still get a paycheck and be wrong.
Yeah, 90% of the time you can be wrong. Man, I was just telling you, you want to talk about weather? My wife is out of town. She's on a cruise with all of her girl cousins. So all of her girl cousins went on a cruise. Well, last night they issued a tornado warning for our area, and so all of our wives are calling back home saying, "Where are you guys safe? What's going on? What's happening? What's up?" And I'm like, "Just enjoy your vacation. We're fine. Like,
yeah,
quit." So I was in the basement at 11 o'clock at night having to wake my kids up. But other than that, And of course, the weatherman was wrong.
Of course. He's still got a job.
Yeah. No, but I was out west this past weekend, and Seemed like every airport I flew into, they were having crazy snowstorms.
Yeah, there's a few. I don't know what it is, but everywhere around us has been getting a lot of snow. We haven't had no winter to speak of. Hence the reason why
Really?
lion season hasn't been that good so far. It really hasn't. I'm
Yeah.
hoping next month brings some snow. Typically does. It's when I usually catch the most anyway, is next month. But yeah, it's horrible. I got friends down in Vernal, and they're always saying, hey, we got about 3 feet of snow right now. So, and that's in my backyard. But it's so deep up on the mountains that they can't even get in either. So, same way as out in, around Butte, Montana and stuff like that. But it's been goofy here, just complete goofy.
Yeah.
So.
No, I actually did. I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about lion hunting. We have a mutual friend, Waylon Herzig, and I was talking with him, and he's like ate up with it, and I'm like, man, what's the addiction? Like, what about it gets you so fired up, man? Because you meet guys, and it's kind of like coyote hunters. Like, if they're in, they're all in. You know what I mean? Like, you don't meet many people, and they're like, yeah, mountain lion hunting, it's okay. Like, they're either full bore, all in, I like to chase lions, or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you you have to be a little bit mad in the head, I think, so
that you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an adrenaline rush, and there's not that many states that even allow hound hunting anymore. It's
right.
I mean, California and Oregon, Washington. I mean, that's. I mean, I watched all those states go away, over the years. Thankfully, Idaho. Hopefully that'll never change. Montana's brought it back, thankfully. So some parts of Colorado you can still run lion, but not bear, unless you're, a trouble bear and you're, outfitted through the state, whatnot. Utah, you still can, but they're a little different down there as far as their line procedures. I think they're a lot of caught out. I mean, even all of my buddies that's down there that runs, if you catch a 2-year-old tom, you're really doing something, and yeah. I mean, that's great for training your hounds, but I don't want to shoot a 2-year-old tom, but there's a lot of them just caught out, and there's got to be something left, for somebody else to run, So, I mean, right. And you got to look at it this way too. I mean, it is a challenge. Approximately 1,800, 2,000 that's here in the state is what they guesstimate. Whether that's wrong or not, I don't know. They were wrong on the wolf population, so yeah, they may be wrong on that also. But I mean, I'm out here in the back country a lot. Yeah, when I say a lot,
yeah,
I'd be out today. We had a little bit of, that little bit of snow that's on top, probably only 2 inches, but trying to find one, just trying to cut tracks. I mean, there was 4 of us that went approximately collectively between the 4. We went about 200 miles last week and caught one 2-day-old bobcat track. Caught. We saw one 2-day-old bobcat track. Had we had known early on that was the only track we was going to cut, I'd probably turn loose on it, but yeah, it's just what you go after, try to thrill of that and whatnot. So that's not really
I've talked to some guys. Yeah. No, I've talked to some guys, man. And, I think for people, especially Midwesterns, like you hear lion hunting and you think, well, all they're doing is running dogs. Like all they do is let the dogs out and let the dogs do the work. But I've talked to several guys who have been on lion hunts from here in Kansas, and they're like, dude, it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like it's not, and these guys are sheep hunters, these guys are elk hunters, and they're like, dude, a mountain lion hunt is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And so it's like you hear them talk about that, and you're like, man, I want to give it a shot, But yeah, it's just like every single person I've ever met, they're either full bore with it or they're, they just don't do it.
Well, it is. I mean, it's. I mean, if you're like me, I just don't ride the roads and try to cut a track.
Right.
We actually walk in a lot. If we are, especially here, later part of March, I'll be doing a lot of walking in because there's guys that actually can get their rigs in and rig up, their hounds on the back just to try to catch. But, lion hunting's way different than stinky old bear hunting, so,
Yeah.
it is physically challenging as well. I mean, you may be able to catch one, 200 yards off the road. It may be a 12-mile journey too.
5 miles in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know how that is. So I mean, it can be really physically challenging for that. And I mean, obviously the hounds do all the work. There's no doubt about that. They're the ones we just got to get the work that we have is just getting to the hounds once they get that critter bait up or treed, that's the most important thing for me is being able to get from my point to where they have it bait up or treed up at really quickly because I don't want to lose a hound. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what, Waylon said. He's like, more so than any other hunt, like elk hunts, doesn't matter. Bear hunts, doesn't matter. I've had more mountain lion hunters just like say, leave me here. I can't make it back out. Like I got 100%. Down here to get the lion, but I can't get out of here,
100%.
Because, and when you think about it, dude, when those cats are distressed, they're going to go to the craziest country they can get to. Like that's what they're going to try to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what every animal does is they try to get somewhere where something else won't get them. And so they go to the craziest place they can go. Well, now you've got to get to the craziest place a cat can go.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then try to get your hounds off of maybe you're on you're cliffed out. That cat's going to be cliffed out. If he's going to go to the last possible point. And of course, 9 times out of 10, that lion's going to go where those hounds can't. I mean, they're just a lot more agile physically than what a hound is, so, but, it all depends on if you're able to get that thing expired or not. I don't, some of them it's like, well, you can't shoot it here, and then trying to get your hounds off the lion too, could get pretty crazy, it's pretty exhilarating. There's no doubt about it, so.
Have you ever shot one with your recurve?
What's that?
Have you ever shot one with your recurve?
I've gotten one, and that's it. That's my extent of it.
Yeah.
I've taken tons of other folks on them, but mine, no. It's like I try to get everybody else one, and that's fine with me. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned with the lions, my objective is to being able to get one in each state that you're able to run in.
That's cool.
So, but it's hard too, just being able to try to coordinate all that, because you got to spend some serious time out there trying to cut tracks, Last year we were down in Utah and, we did get on some lion tracks. We got on some young males and a couple females. So it wasn't something I wanted to shoot, so, those are the type of things that, it's no big deal to me. I don't really care to share those type of information. You know what I mean? So everybody else is like, well, you should have shot it. Well, no, a lion's not as, a lion's a pretty methodical creature, and they get a bad rap. Everybody thinks, lion, they're really threatening to the populations and things like this. Nah, I would disagree with that. A wolf is more, a lion's going to kill to eat. It's not just going to kill to kill, a wolf, pack of wolves, they train their pups on just kill to kill and they'll leave, so, it's completely different, animal, predator wise. So, of course that's a whole nother subject if it's just hound hunting, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, I think mountain lions get the bad rep because and it's just like anything in the hunting industry, you only see the negative because the negative is the only thing that ever gets the exposure. So like you see the video of like the the mountain biker stopping to eat lunch and a lion stalking in, or, you see, like I just saw a video of a mountain lion. This guy's putting a stalk on an elk, and a mountain lion starts stalking him, and, he shoots at it, and the mountain lion doesn't even move. And, those are the videos that get so much exposure. And so that's the only, kind of mindset that people get about mountain lions. When in all reality, dude, like, I mean, they're just like anything else. They're more afraid of you than you are of them,
Yeah, I mean, there has to be something up with it, before you really get attacked or something like that. I mean, all of them, just like with the bear, they all have personalities. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. My thing is just constantly being aware of what's going on and what type of country you're in. It's like these goons going out and being in grizzly bear country and having, you mean there's bear here?
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay,
then you get shocked. Yeah
I mean what do you expect, or I don't know. It's one of those things where folks just need to be aware of where they're at and what's out there, and the more the population that's out there, I mean, we're in their territory too, so,
right.
I don't know. You try to play the devil's advocate a little bit, with these type of things, but, I don't know, when there are problems, and if you stop and look at them, historically, where the problems lie, it's where liberal folks don't want to allow hunting. So, if you have correct management in place, I feel that, that's probably not going to have a greatest impact of seeing, troubled lions or troubled bears or whatever,
Yeah,
or somebody will,
for sure.
So there's a lot that can be said for that, and it's like, well, we got a hero who just went out and killed a mountain lion. There's trouble in the neighborhood. Well, if you'd have probably took care of that situation when you knew about it, you probably never would hear about these things, so
Yeah.
It's a sticky situation.
Man, I'll tell you what. Yeah. I'll tell you my kind of, what kind of started making me think, like, man, I've really got to do this sometime. I saw a video, and basically it was a house cat on one side and a mountain lion on the other. And they were basically mirroring what each other were doing. So if your house cat jumped up on the couch, this mountain lion jumped up on a boulder. And at the end, it was like, a house cat can jump, I don't even remember now, 6 times its height. And it can do this, faster than whatever. And then it's like a mountain lion can do that as well. So if you take a house cat that can jump 6 times its height, a mountain lion can jump 6 times its height. And then you're like, then it shows videos of mountain lions jumping 6 times their height. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like, look how just incredibly athletic this cat is. And then, like, I view it as being one of those things that's almost like the ultimate, I did it, are you familiar with Jack Frost? Do you know Jack Frost at all?
Yeah.
So right now, his main goal, and he's been trying it for a few years, but his main goal is to kill a mountain lion with no dogs, spot and stalk. And I'm just like, dude, kudos to you, man, because that is, I can't think of many harder things to do.
Well, I'd have to see it done. It better be on video, because if you see it and you actually are able to stalk that animal, kill it, even with a bow, rifle, because I mean, I've been in serious encounters with them, but I wasn't stalking it. I can tell you that. I have videos that I can share that, I'd sit down and eat lunch, and then just mainly when I've seen these really 15-yard encounters is right after I've been packing in bear bait or something like that in the spring. That's when I've seen them, or calling in, I'd go in and cold call for elk prior to going in. And then I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a weapon on me. And the only thing I was doing was just trying to locate for the following morning. And then here's a lion, but as far as me going out here in the field or something like that and spotting one and trying to get in to arrow it, it'll never happen. I don't care who you are. It's not good. You're not going to beat that animal. Absolutely not. I will fight tooth and nail and trying to get proved wrong on that one. That is the apex of apex when it comes to predator. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
you can be out here. I've been in the tree stands numerous times, just watching whitetail, muley, or being just out, and I would see a lion come in and take, an animal. So for a human to say that they're going to outplay an animal in his own ground, and I don't know if he's going to try to stick it with a bow, but if he does, it'll be on a complete ambush. It's not going to be, as far as you being in a position, you're not going to see it and then go in after it. There's no way. I don't see how that's going to happen. Just being in
At this point, I don't think he knows how it's going to happen yet. But he,
well, if he gets it done,
and dude, you got to think.
if he can get it done, then it's it'll be probably the first time ever because you can be out here, and I've called him before, and there's a lot of folks out here that's dabbled with calling, and then has been really good at it. I haven't been successful with calling him in. I've called him in, but they've nailed. They're where you will call in a code, say most guys that coyote call. 15, 20 minutes for me, I'm done. It's moving on. And that's usually how, a lot of people will say, well, I'm doing that for cats. Nah. Same way with wolves. Nah. You got about a 90-minute frame that, they know where you are. They know where that sound is. It's
they've already pinpointed you.
They've already pinpointed. Yeah. Same way with elk, but 100 times better. I'm just exaggerating as far as 100 times, and maybe 200 times better. I don't know. But their perception of knowing where something is, no. It's unbelievable. It's like, oh, whoa, that's not a bird out there or a wounded jackrabbit. That's a big blob trying to kill me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be interesting to see, for sure,
And dude, you got to think Jack is probably, I'm going to guess here, and I don't have to worry about him really ever listening to this probably, but
he's a little older.
He's probably 80 years old. He's probably 80.
Yeah.
And so you hear of an 80-year-old guy, and don't get me wrong, dude, one of the greatest hunters to ever live, in my opinion. But still, you're talking 80 years old trying to spot and stalk a mountain lion. It's insane, dude. It's absolutely insane to think of. But hey, I give him kudos, man. What sets Jack apart is Jack looks at the animals and says, "What's the next big challenge? I've completed the 29. I've completed the deer slams. I've completed all these things. What's the next big challenge?" And so for an 80-year-old guy, it's hey, I think I'm going to spot and stalk mountain lions. Sure, may never work, but man, kudos to the guy for trying. In my opinion,
just being. Most people don't even ever have an encounter, but I put myself in that position because, if I'm not guiding or out hunting or running hounds or doing the hunts myself, we're out scouting or whatever. So at least 300 to 310 days a year, I'm out. I'm out here in the country. So greater chances if you're out there. Same way with whaling, you're out there. It's just what you do. You're out there in the wilderness, so there's a greater chance. But if you are not from an area that holds cats, for you just go out. It's the same way of guys coming out. Everybody asks, "Man, I want to kill a wolf. I want to kill a wolf." Well, so does everybody else. Okay, so but you're not gonna just I got a week. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. You come out and hunt wolves in Idaho, you better have more than just a week. Okay, because it's not gonna happen unless you just dumb luck into it. So the way their travel patterns are, and just. They're just they're not an alpha predator or called an alpha predator for no reason, So, they're just as aware of their surroundings. They know we're there before we even know they're there, So same way with the mountain lion, absolutely. So it's being able to just say from a Eastern guy or Mid-Eastern guy, Texas got a good bit of lions also around the Davis and Franklin. So we won't rule that area out. But So if you just come out and, say, hey, man, I'm going to do this, like, oof, you better have a lot of time,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you ever had that either with a mountain lion or a wolf, just that spooky encounter, man?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
what's been the worst?
Probably last spring with the bear bait. I'll share this video over with you. May want to throw that clip in there, on the
Yeah,
podcast,
for
because
sure.
it's just got done packing in bear bait. And I sat down behind a tree, and an old Forest Service road goes down into the canyon. I'm not going to say the canyon, the creek canyon or anything like that where I'm at, but so I just sat down, pull off my backpack, go in. I'm like, man, I don't know what I've had, but a Snickers or something, you know what I mean? So I just wanted something there to chew on. Just packed in, probably half a mile bear bait. So sat down up against a pine tree, and I just put my phone around because I was like, hey, man, this is a pretty cool view. The fog just was lifting up, and I was like, I'll send this over to the wife. I had my phone out, and I'm panning around as I'm talking, and then all of a sudden, here comes this Tom just walking right up the old Forest Service trail. And I'm thinking, man, I don't have my sidearm on me. I don't have nothing. I got my pocket knife, well, I should say, my little trapper knife. But I'm like, oh, that's 20 yards. Oh, that's 15 yards. He just comes in, and I mean, his nose is in the air, but thankfully, the way those thermals hadn't changed yet, and it was coming up out of the canyon instead of going down. If it was going down, I probably would have had a serious encounter with something I didn't want to tangle with, So, but he just turned on, and we went up. So I got video of that. I hightailed it back, grabbed the hounds. Of course, by this time I got off the mountain, came back and got the hounds. It was about a 4-hour track. So we turned loose on it, and we ran it, and then I'll ever claim to be a houndsman. Okay, that's just not my thing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say I'm a houndsman. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I grew up with it, and I run them, and I won't ever say I have the best hounds. But we got tangled up down in the creek bed there, and we wasn't able to tree him or anything like that. And that cat, that's been on my priority list to get his butt, you know what I mean, for the past, since, because we have a long season. We only have like a month and a half off in that unit that I can't run. So, and that's for lion, so there's, when I'll back up, I'll get back to that, but it's like, there's always an animal to pursue here in Idaho at any point, so it's like,
right.
I'm just not like, the whitetail hunter. I'm actually out here doing it away with a lot of the other guys. It's here too. I mean, we're able to be out here a good bit, so wasn't able to bring him out, but we haven't had enough snow to really get to where it's good. And I've been pounding that ground a good bit because I want him out of there because he scared the shit out of me. So, I mean, that's
he's gonna get what he's got coming.
He's got it coming, Dylan. He's got it coming because that's probably, I mean, I've had wolves in front of me. I was not afraid of them, but with this lion, just because I've seen what they can do, firsthand on kills. And as far as one or two wolves, I really don't care about them. But the lion, I mean, you got a 150-pound Tom in front of you. Yeah, I mean, I've seen what it does to just shreds a dog in a matter of seconds, So it doesn't matter how big you are. That a 150-pound Tom's going to take down the biggest giant. So it's just the way it's going to be, So that was the scary moment. I remember for me.
The first time, and I was in no danger whatsoever. But here I was, a Midwestern boy, and the first time I ever come to Idaho, it was probably 2017, and I was hunting with the guys from SNS Archery, and we're sitting there and we're glassing, and we had kind of taken a break, and we were eating lunch, and we look across at the ridge, and I'm like, dude, what is that? That is moving fast, and it's black, and it's running straight down the hill. And Rob looks over and he says, boys, we just saw a wolf. And you don't see him long. I mean, he's just gone, and he disappears into the bottom. And so as a naive little Midwestern boy, I think to myself, I'm like, well, he's going to come right back up this side, right at us. And so for the next like hour and a half, you can't see him. I'm like, dude, he's coming. Like he's on his way up towards us right now. And I mean, dude was probably in the like 5 miles away by this point. But I was just like, a little freaked out because you see him running right down, and then he's just gone. And it was in that moment where I'm like, man, like these animals, they function on a different level. Like, they don't, wolves, mountain lions, like they function completely different than anything I'm used to hunting.
Well, they do, and there's guys that really good at killing wolves out here. They spend a lot of time out here, of doing it. For me, I'm an opportunist when it comes to wolves.
Yeah.
When we're out here running hounds, we see them a good bit because we'll chase them out, and it's mainly a wolf that's been ran off the pack. We've ran into a lot. There are pack wolves. I personally have not, but I've had some fellow houndsmen that's lost hounds. Where wolves will call out a hound and kill it. So from the pack. They're when you say that they're on a different level, they are. They're really methodical about how they do it, about everything. But I think the ultimate predator here is definitely the lion versus the lion just needs itself. The wolf needs a pack.
Yeah,
they're strong in packs.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to just recap your last season. You had a great season. You started off early with an elk, I think is what you started with.
No, I started off with a bison.
Oh yeah. Well, that was earlier in the year though, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, my season starts from January. Mine's all year long. So
okay, all right. You know what I mean.
Oh, you're talking about fall season.
Yes, I think we had you on. We had you on right after the bison hunt.
Oh yeah,
we kind of recapped that entire hunt. We
did talk about the bison,
but I don't think we have talked since. At least on the podcast, I don't think we've talked since. Kind of recapping your fall there. So I think I remember the first picture I saw was you with that elk that you had shot with the Execute.
Yeah. It was a blurred out picture, I believe, with the bow. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was mad. I just get jealous. I'm like, man, I want to see it. I want to shoot it.
That guy.
Yeah. I'm an arrow junkie. I can't help it. I love building arrows. It's my passion. I can remember growing up, my dad, it was sitting there sharpening knives. He loved to do that. For me, it's building arrows. It's sharpening broadheads. It's fletching arrows. It's playing with arrow weights and FOCs and all that good stuff. I love going out in my bow shop and messing with arrows. A good friend of mine, Dan, he started a company called Arrow Junkie. First off, what caught my attention was the incredible looking apparel. If you don't like Sasquatch carrying a bow, dragging a deer, there's something wrong with you. But as an arrow junkie, he sells me all the equipment that I need to build my own arrows, from arrow saws, arrow squares, arrow jigs, everything that I need to build my own arrows. He's got all the fletchings, all the wraps, all the glues, everything, broadheads, fill tips, inserts, outserts, everything you need to build your own arrow. Also, he puts out some really good information on how to build your own arrows. Guys, it doesn't have to be difficult, and it really doesn't even have to be that expensive. You can build an entire arrow building kit for $400 or so. And then all of a sudden, you can build the best arrows that you can possibly have because you're building them yourself. You know them. You're putting the time and effort into them. So, guys, I would highly encourage you to check out Arrow Junkie for all your arrow building needs. He's phenomenal. They're phenomenal. Go check it out. No, dude, I will say this, though. This is my humble opinion. You can argue with me if you want. But I believe the Execute 32 is the bow that Bear has finally come out with. And nobody in their right mind, having shot the bow, nobody in their right mind can argue that it doesn't compete with any other bow in the world. I think that bow there, no one could ever argue that this bow is performs lesser than any other bow on the market.
I can't deny that, and I can't argue with you on that either.
Now, don't get me wrong. I tell people like this. There's a lot of personal preference when it comes to bows.
Oh, sure.
So if you head into a bow shop, you shoot all 5 brands. You line up all 5 different manufacturers, all 5 of their flagships. Sure, you might still like another bow better. Like, you might shoot them all, and personal preference leads you to bow X, which is fine. Shoot what bow you like best. I'm just saying that nobody can argue and say the Execute 32 doesn't perform right alongside all of the other flagship bows. That's what I'm saying.
No, it won't. It will, because if you put all those bows, top tier bows, on a draw board and shoot them off to get all the functions that you want for any vertical bow, as far as performance wise, it'll perform just like the rest of them, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
And like you say, there's a bow that feels great for everyone. I'm not, I won't dispute that. Hey, this bow brand X. I'm gonna say brand X because I like Bear. So feels better than the Execute. But boy, I tell you, there's no reason why it shouldn't, because they feel really good. They shoot exceptional. It's definitely the best bow that's Bear has produced to date, without a doubt.
I would agree. And this isn't just bro science. This isn't just me throwing a number out there, because on 2 different occasions I've heard it's been tested with decibel readers, but that's the quietest bow of the year. And Brian from Mike's Archery, they test every bow every year. And he said, I've only shot 1 bow quieter than this. As far as history, I've only shot 1 bow quieter than this. And for the year, it's the quietest bow on the market. Now, again, there is personal preference that plays a massive role into this. But I just want to encourage you, go into a bow shop, pick one up, and shoot it, because it will perform with any other bow on the market, I promise. I don't promise that you'll like it more than any other bow, but I promise you that it will perform right alongside any other bow on the market. That's what I promise you.
Oh, without a doubt. It'll compete with anything out there. And the 30 as well. I like the 30 as well. The 30 shoots really well. I may even be using that one. I'm actually putting on a new bloodline string on the 32 right now, right before our conversation. So I like them both. They both shoot really good. I'm actually tuning them, and and as far as there's no inflated IBO numbers, on with Bear either. I can get them. The few minor tweaks that's coming in from factory, I'm like at 420 grains, I'm shooting like 309, 308, with the bow. It's fast. Yeah, it's good. I like the 420, like right around 420 grains. That's what I've shot. Anything that I need to kill in North America, I don't need a 600 grain arrow for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But they definitely are. And I tell you, I can't keep bows in the shop fast enough. I really can't.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is. I was a little apprehensive, a little bit, especially when John and I talked first. I was like, "Holy cow, a $1,200 bow!" Yeah. And then I'm like, "Yeah, it's a $1,200 bow."
100%. That's the problem behind it. Everybody for the last however many years has says, "When's Bear going to compete? When's Bear going to make something that will hang with all these other bows?" And then Bear finally does. And need I remind you, Bear's selling a $1,200 bow that's competing with $1,800 bows by a long shot. But then they make the bow that's going to compete with everybody else, and then everybody's like, "Oh, since when is Bear selling them for $1,200?" And I'm like, "Well, you asked them to design something and make something that will compete, they finally do, and then you cry about the price. Like, there's just, you're never going to make them happy.
No.
But I will say this, it's worth every penny, and you're still coming in $600 cheaper than some other bows on the market, and I promise you it will perform with any bow that you want to put it up against.
I agree with that. And to add to that, when you said, when's Bear gonna come up with a $1,200 bow? Well, we have $500 and $600 bows that will compete with $1,000 bows anyway. I think a lot of it has to do with like mind over matter here a little bit, if you will. Like for years, I mean, decades, just to say, go back for decades, Bear's always had an affordable bow for everyone, for every lineup where you are, at all entry levels, expertise, whatever. There's been something there for everyone, and I think that's been embedded with people's minds historically throughout the years. Is like, if I don't buy $1,000 bow, it's not going to perform. I'm gonna tell you right now, any bow out there will perform no matter what it is. 9 times out of 10, the guy can't shoot it. I mean, that's just the bottom line, because if you take any of the top tier guys that's shooting, dots, they'll put any bow in their hand, they're going to shoot it. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
Dude, if you take a legit, that's the baseline bow that you could ever get. If you take a legit and you put it in Levi Morgan's hands, tell you what he's going to do. He's going to pound X's with it. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Now, dude, there's a reason. I one time had a guy tell me, he said, well, I was trying to sell him on the Alaskan. I'm like, dude, the Alaskan is one of the best, but I love that bow. And he said, yeah, but it's a $550 bow. I'm like, what do you mean? And like,
so
he was too good. He was too good for this bow.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, you're too good for this bow. I'm like, but yet Chuck Adams is in the backcountry of Alaska breaking world records with that bow.
Yeah.
But you're too good for it.
Yeah.
You shooting your whitetails in your backyard in Alabama, you're too good for it, but yet Chuck Adams can take it in the backcountry and shoot literally new world records in Alaska with the bow, but you're too good for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely not. No, well, and I think that's what it is people's just had to keep up with the Joneses over the years. They've lost their way.
Oh, yeah.
They really have, and it's, I don't let any of that. Of course, me, I'm pretty, if I have something to say, I usually say it.
It's one of my favorite things about you, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold anything back.
Yeah, there's just there's nobody who, I don't want to say nobody, because man, in this industry, you meet some of the greatest people ever, but
I agree. I agree.
There's just nobody who's real anymore. Like there's nobody who just flat out says it, dude. And yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite things about you, man.
Yeah, well, you come here, I'll be the same as what I'm talking to you right now. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, 100%.
I got that charming sense of humor. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm being real.
Yeah. 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 No, and that's what, I just wish more people would tell it like it is. I wish more people would, well, going back to the guy's thought process, I wish just more people would understand, like, any bow today is going to outshoot the shooter. Like, I will never in a million years get the full performance out of an Execute 32. Like, I'll never be able to shoot too good for an Execute 32. Heck, dude, I can't even shoot better than my wife's legit. Like, I'm not ever going to outshoot that legit. But guys today think like, dude, I was talking to a guy the other day, and I'm not going to name any companies that he bought from, but he was telling me about his setup. And he said, yeah, I spent about $600 on stabilizers. And I'm like, what? Stabilizers? Like, you can't shoot a bow unless you spend $600 on stabilizers? Dude, I about pooped my pants when he said that.
Yeah, that's a little excessive. Well, hey man, if you got the money, right? But it's like,
I guess,
of course I'm the archery instructor here, for Northern Idaho. So it's, one of those things where, I mean, I'm not instructing my kids, and I'll correct them on what they're doing. But, if you keep things simple, man, I think a lot of people really overthink the whole process of shooting archery,
Yeah.
and I see that right off the bat. I mean, I have 8-year-olds that can probably outshoot most guys that've shot all their life that overthink everything, because, well, kids sponge it up and they do exactly what you say. Well, kids that want to learn, but guys really overthink things, and I say it all the time, they're never going to shoot what they think they can, they're not going to, because they just won't let their mind ease. And I get that a lot of times. I've never had target panic. I know what it is, and things like that. And I've helped guys out with it, but I mean, I can pick up my trad and go shoot it, and I can pick up my compound and go shoot it, and I can switch off at any time. I don't get confused, because I think a lot of people just overthink things and keep things really more complicated than what they really are. I'm thankful that I can do that. I know there's a lot of guys that can't and say, well, I can't just shoot one. I got to stay on one to shoot one. But people really overcomplicate the whole process of shooting archery instead of taking the therapeutic aspect and going and doing it.
Well, and that's what, if somebody's facing that, I don't want to necessarily say target panic, but if somebody's just in that drought, like, they're like, man, I've just been shooting bad. I can't get out of it. I'm like, all right, you just need to slow down. Like, you just need to stop watching so many videos. Now,
yeah,
I don't want to, I want to tread lightly here, because I'm also a big preacher of like always trying to become better.
Well, sure.
But trying to become better doesn't mean that you have to overthink everything. Becoming better doesn't mean you have to complicate everything. So, I tell everybody, it's just like getting back to the basics. And you see it with every sport. Every sport where an athlete is facing the yips, if you want to say that.
Sure.
And they're facing just I'm in a slump. Every trainer in the world for every sport gets that athlete back to the basics.
Absolutely.
And I think if more archers, I don't remember who it was. It was some big pro shooter. I want to say it was Levi, but he said at the end of every season, I spend 1 month of just breaking down my shot back to the very beginning, like so I don't overcomplicate it, and just start back at the very beginning of shooting and getting back to the basics and keeping it simple as possible. And I think if more shooters would do that, because we live in this technology-driven world, where guys are always putting out videos and always putting out information about how to change this, how to do that, how to shoot more effectively, how to do this. And then you're trying to change everything about your shot, and you get all confused and all because you've complicated your shot so much that if you would just, like you said, just get back to the basics, man, keep it simple and shoot,
Well, yeah, even just said that when you said we're in a world of like, you can go to YouTube and social media and everything. We're all guilty of it, whatever, it's part of my job, it's part of your job. But at our fingertips, there's a world of, or plethora of information that is wrong. Okay. It's wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
These guys give their own opinion about things and they have no clue what they're talking about. And I'll go and I'll look at their page and I'm like, that's completely their opinion, but it's like, but you have no proof to back that opinion up. It's kind of like me going out here, going hunting and trying to tell somebody how to kill an elk, and I've never killed one before in my life. You know what I mean? So, or bear hunting or things like that. It's like, it may work for those guys, as far as like how they do things, and that's great. But for guys that come across as like they're an expert on things, the world is full of bad information, and I think a lot of people need to take that in perspective a little bit, because I think they do. It's like, oh, so-and-so said to try this. I'm like, it may work. I don't know. I try to
Yeah.
analyze everything that's being said and how to do it, but basics,
Well, my biggest thing is like the moment you hear somebody say like, this is going to change everything about the way you hunt. This is going to really. So since
Really?
dating back to the Indians, nobody's ever thought of what you just thought of. Like nobody's ever,
Let's reinvent the wheel, right?
Yeah, nobody has ever thought about this groundbreaking little tip or trick you've got here that's going to change the way everybody hunts. In the history of hunting, nobody's ever thought of it, but yeah, you're going to change the way I hunt.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of people where you just immediately you have to start thinking about, does what you're saying actually hold any water whatsoever? But man, I had this kid. I did a video on my bow setup last year, and I had this kid comment, and he said, "Well, when are you going to upgrade to a drop away?" Commenting on my whisker biscuit, and I'm like, "Okay." So I go to his page. And the kid's maybe 14, and he shot one doe with a bow. I know that because I looked at his post. He said, "Finally got my first doe." And so I was thinking, I'm like, man, here's a kid. I mean, kudos to you. You shoot what you believe in. That's
Sure.
I'm really proud. I'm really proud that you shoot what you believe in. But you come to my page and you openly comment that what I do is not effective enough.
Yeah.
That what I do is not good enough. Like, because dude, some of the greatest hunters I've ever met shoot a whisker biscuit. And, I can promise you this, like, if that kid wants to shoot, my bow tunes perfectly. So for everybody that says you can't get a bow to tune with a whisker biscuit, my bow tunes perfectly, I promise. I shoot a 4-fletch, and that's another thing you get is there's no way you could ever tune a bow with a 4-fletch. I promise you my bow is shooting bullet holes with a 4-fletch and a whisker biscuit.
I mean, it's been
you
proven
can't shoot
science
distance.
that 4-fletch is better than 3.
You can't shoot distance with a whisker biscuit. Now listen, I'm not a great shot. Like I'm not a great shot. I'm going to just throw that out there for you right now. But at 70, 80, 90 yards, I cannot shoot any better with a drop away than I can a whisker biscuit. I've tried it both. I've shot them side by side. And hey, don't get me wrong. I shot a drop away for 9 years, 10 years. And when I decided to go back to a whisker biscuit, I set 2 bows up identical. Only thing being different was a whisker biscuit and a drop away. And I tried everything. I shot them through paper. I shot them through chronos. I shot them through at distance. I shot them, and I never noticed a difference. So, hey, I'm not bashing the kid. I'm really glad that you found something that you believe in. That's what shoot what you believe in. Shoot what you have confidence in. But you cannot ever just simply throw out, this is better than that. And if you do it that way, you're wrong.
Well, yeah, there's so many ways. On a whisker biscuit in the backcountry, if something were to go wrong, even on a live driver or cable, there's a lot more moving parts. The more moving parts, and I always like to keep it simple. You just, that old KISS deal, keep things simple. And there's nothing wrong with a whisker biscuit at all. And you're going hunting. I mean, natives were killing things with things that they made with their hands. Years and years and years and years ago, it's like,
yes,
there it goes. It goes right back to people overthinking things. You don't need, I don't know. I'm just going to preach it because it's like, you don't need to keep up with the Joneses to go out and do hunting. And I hate these people that bring Hollywood into hunting. It really irks me to know. I'm going to keep it clean. It irks me to no end. You know what I mean? It's like, and anybody that knows me knows I hate social media. I hate even posting things on social media, because I don't ever like, what I do works for me. And like, if somebody asks, then I'll give them my opinion on what works, but like just giving free advice out there, it's not me, or free, what do you call it? Free, useless, so.
Yeah.
But
no, and that's what, and going back to Chuck, everybody's all into this $600 on a jacket. And dude, my socks cost me $94.99. Like, you know, they're all into this super high end, like overthinking everything, overcomplicating everything. And on that same hunt where Chuck was breaking world records with a $550 bow,
Yeah.
he sends a picture from the inside of his tent. And it's all like old school cotton t-shirts that are, you know, that you bought at Walmart in 95.
He's probably
like,
still got the same
and I'm
one
like,
on
so
that he
here-
bought in 95.
You're probably right, dude. So here you have a guy who's in the backcountry of Alaska, and that's another thing I get. That's what another thing that irks me is, we'll use your same word. Another thing that irks me is people are like, yeah, but dude, I hunt in Idaho, or like, dude, I hunt in Alaska, and I'm like, okay, well, Chuck is breaking world records in Alaska with a $550 bow, wearing old cotton camo t-shirts and a $550 bow. Now, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm really glad I don't have to wear the old wool that you used to wear. Like, I'm not saying that.
Well, sure. Sure.
I like to hunt comfortable, but everybody wants to make all these excuses and complicate everything, and just, man, it's more about the gear now than it is about the hunt. Like, that's the problem.
I mean, well, it is, and I agree with that. You don't need it. I mean, I can go out here and kill something in flannel shirt or whatever, in blue jeans. I mean, I don't.
But
need
it's
it.
nice to have.
But you're right. But I want to be comfortable. It's kind of like if I want to go out and build fence in the rain, I want to make sure I got some rain gear on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
It's the same deal. I want to be comfortable about doing it, but there has to be limitations. You know, I feel anyways. Like, I can't afford, or nor do I want to, even if I could, to go out and buy, you know, a $1,400 gear setup, you know, from brand X. We all know who we're talking about, or the other brand X that we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll throw this blurb out there. Is like, I mean, Huntworth does make some good stuff that's really, really fairly priced, you know, for budget-minded people. You know, there's a lot of companies that do, you know, but you don't need all that. You don't need that to go out and enjoy yourself. Maybe if you're looking for comfort, you know, but I mean, I got some old pictures of just the old wool, you know, that we grew up, you know, like the Filson style.
Right.
It wasn't Filson though, because my dad could never afford that. You know what I mean? But just old stuff, you know, old wool sweaters, you know, that we went out hunting with, you know. So,
you know, and I'm okay to say this. I think I know them well enough that I can say this. I own Sitka vests.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few Sitka vests. I even got a couple QU vests. And I promise you, those vests do not keep me any warmer, costing $300, than a ScentLock vest that cost me $100.
Oh, sure.
They don't cut the wind any better. They don't repel the water any better. And in fact, you know, I've got heated vests from ScentLock that cost 2/3 of the price of one regular vest from Sitka.
Sure.
Now, hey, they make great gear. I'm not saying that. Like, they do. But here's the problem, man. The biggest question I get asked is like, man, how do you afford to go on these hunts? Like, how do you afford to go to Idaho and elk hunt? And I look at your gear and I'm like, well, you've got $10,000 in Sitka on your body. And you've got a $3,000, and you got a $3,000 bow.
Yeah.
I'm like, so why don't we quit bashing the Chuck Adams of the world and buy a $550 bow and wear some old camo threads, and you could be chasing just about any animal you wanted every year. You know, I mean, that's the problem is people break their bank on bows and camo, and then they don't even get to hunt as much because they've spent all their money on gear.
Well,
and
it's keeping up with the Joneses again, man. I mean, it's just that mentality, you know, and really, you can't really blame them. Those companies that are selling that high price stuff, they've spent a ton of money in marketing to get that household name. You know, they've brainwashed people. I don't know what else to say. I mean,
Well, dude, I would rather spend $550 on an Alaskan or a Legend XR, which, dude, that bow, don't even get me started on that bow.
The bow
That's a
is pretty
stinking
sweet.
shooter.
Yeah. Those have been flying
But I
off
would
the
rather
shelf.
I'd rather spend $550 on a bow and then be able to go on an elk hunt, or $550 on a bow and be able to come out and mountain lion hunt with you.
Yeah.
Rather than say, oh, dude, look at my $4,000 bow that I spent $600 on stabilizers on. I'm going to shoot 2 does with it this year because I can't afford to hunt anywhere else. Like, man, I'm getting on a rant, but that's just kind of
Well, that's the
that's
truth,
kind of
man.
my
It's
rant.
like, well, people forget where they come from. They forget how to get back to the roots. I mean, that's just the truth of it. I say that a lot. I say that a lot just from dealing with family members and things like that. I don't forget where I come from. No matter what my status will ever be. It's and I don't live beyond my means either. It's just not who I am, and it's not what makes my family happy. I'd rather be out here being able to teach my kids, um, the way that I do things, the way we want to do things. And thankfully we live in a state where we can do that, but it's just not practical, and I think people
Right.
forget that. It's like, but maybe it is practical for them. Maybe they don't know any better. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's like, I hate when they complain, like what you're saying, because other people are out there doing it. It's like, well, there's a reason. I don't need to ride around in a brand new $100,000 truck. You know what I mean? So,
I just recently I was in Reno for the Pope and Young panel, and I was talking with Frank Noska, and Frank is I believe 3 animals away from completing his Super Slam for the 3rd time. And so you look at a guy like this and you're like, oh my gosh, like, here we have a guy who's completed all 29, about to be 3 times. And you're like, dude, he must wear nothing but QU. He must shoot nothing but $5,000 bows. He must. And he's like, listen, I drive an 03 Silverado that I carry liability insurance on because I want to be able to hunt more. I shoot a bow from 08 because I want to save money so I can hunt more. I've worn the same camo for however many years because I want to be able to spend money to hunt more, And so I was just reminded this weekend, I'm like, if I don't put so much money and thought and time into stinking gear, then I can dedicate more time, more effort, more resources to being able to go on more of the hunts I want to go on. And that's just, I think, but like you said, people want to complicate everything. And then they want to complain about complicating it. And then they want to, complain about not being able to go on hunts because they've complicated it. And I think, it's a rant worth going on.
yeah.
I just,
well,
that's just where I'm at, man.
You saying that though, so let me back up. We may start an argument, but with Frank now, we can't compare that. He's like, like, you're spending serious money to complete those 29. So let's get real here,
gosh, yes.
You're serious because you or I mean, you're a lot younger than I am, but like even me, I mean, I got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of points for a lot of states. I'll never be able to complete the 29 because I don't have the money, and I'll never be able to draw those points now because of point creep and all the. It's just not ever going to happen. To be able to draw all 29 species fairly without paying for superficial hunts, it won't happen ever again. It will not ever happen again. I don't see how it can ever happen again. The way the point systems are, and if you don't have a sock to spend on these animals, I would have to be proven wrong, but I don't see how you're ever going to be able to draw those tags in a lifetime and complete a 29. I wish my dad would have been putting me in for points when I was, 10 years old. I may have been able to complete that, but I won't ever be able to complete it unless I pay for those hunts. I know that because I don't know if they got me flagged on, like, don't give that guy the bighorn sheep tag, or what.
Yeah.
It's it just won't happen. But maybe he's saving elsewhere so he can afford it. But it does cost money to complete those 20.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
You
you
know,
look at some of those sheep, and you're dropping $60K to go on that sheep.
well, I got one
now,
for you. Since you said that, we got to talk about it. So I had a guy that just came back from Mexico on a $65,000 sheep, and for a desert, and he wanted to come out and kill Miriam. Can do these, the slam all through the states and whatnot. And told him, it's $500 a day. That guy had the nerve to say I was too expensive. I was like, you just completed a $65,000 sheep tag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to take you one day,
no
and I'll get you your Miriam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's the world we live in.
Yeah. That is the that is the world we live in. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, Frank is one of the nicest guys in the history of the world.
Sure.
That I've ever met. But Frank is also an Alaskan pilot. Like, so, where a lot of guys have this cost for hiring a pilot to go in and kill these animals, Frank doesn't have any of those.
Well, sure.
He's an Alaskan resident. So where some things that me and you never have the chance to get, 100%. He's got the chance to do it. I understand. Like, he's set up in a supremely different lifestyle than either of us are.
Absolutely.
But I was just alluding to the fact that he makes these sacrifices as far as equipment goes, and as far as lifestyle goes, and as far as living in a cabin versus living in a 2-bedroom trailer. I don't know where he lives, but I'm saying, a lot of these guys make sacrifices to go on these crazy hunts. And I have a pet peeve. If you tell me you can't go on an elk hunt but you smoke cigarettes, we got problems.
There's your elk hunt for the year. Yeah.
There's your elk hunt for the year. If you tell me you can't afford to go on a lion hunt in Idaho, but yet you go to Starbucks every day, we got issues. Like, because you will pay for what you prioritize. Like, you will pay for what is important to you. And so if gear is important to you, if looking cool on the range is important to you, that's what you'll pay for. If going on cool hunts and killing big animals is what's important to you, that's what you'll prioritize, and that's what you'll put your money towards. That's what you'll put your time towards. Mm-hmm. That's just my rant, man. And we were supposed to talk about your last season, but we got on rants.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, what do you want to know? I killed all kinds of stuff.
You did. That's why they call you the Bone Maniac.
Man. Well, I don't know. One of these days, I have a hard time with, I didn't kill anything. I killed a good whitetail here in Idaho. 2 good whitetail in Idaho, and even the bulls I shot were nice. I mean, I don't care about the trophy aspect of it, like to, but it's just the reality of it is I'm going to kill the first bull I call in. I've always been that way, and I'll probably never change. So if a bull comes in that's 350, then he's going to get shot. If he comes in and he's a 185 point or a 4x5, he's probably going to get shot. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter to me as far as that's concerned, Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 bulls, Idaho, Oregon, and couple good pronghorn, couple really nice Idaho whitetail. I just let that execute eat. We wanted to put it to the test, and I was not shortage on arrows, and I wasn't shortage on letting them fly either. So,
yeah, no, and that's what that's another thing that is one of my favorite things about you, man. Like, same with like Eichler, but so many people are so like dead set on, if it ain't big, I ain't shooting it. And I've seen you get fired up about a doe. I've seen you get fired up 100%, and that's what I really not only like about you but admire about you. And I think I sent you a picture this year of a little dink I shot, and I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't have shot him, but I just
Why?
needed to get something on the ground.
Why?
And you were
I
like,
mean,
dude, congrats on a great deer. And I'm like, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? I appreciate it. And so that's
well,
another thing
people
that I
forget
really
that, though.
like about 100%. They do.
You
Because
know, it's like,
again, they're complicating it.
well, here's the thing. People see these people killing these 200-inch deer historically every year. There's only a few people that we know in the industry that can do that because they have the land and the resources to do it. Maybe 5 that's on hand, and they're all right there in the Iowa Midwest area. You know, they can, you know, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri. They all have that land that they can do that. The other ones that's doing it's usually getting caught, you know, and there's big write-ups about how they do it, you know.
Yeah.
So, and they make it bad for putting back to Hollywood into hunting. This isn't. So if don't feel, I mean, there's my message to people. Don't feel that you need to go out here and kill a 200-inch whitetail. I've never killed one. I've never had opportunity. What I will do is I'll kill the biggest animal that I have access to, or try to. If not, I'm not going to eat a tag. I'm going to kill an animal, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is, you know. And now there is different things that I will do. Is like if I like shooting, I'll shoot a doe before I will a 2-year-old on my property or a 3-year-old, you know, on my property, you know. But if I go out in public land, if I want to kill something, I'm going to kill it, you know. Usually I've had to earn it. I've really had to earn it, you know. But if I'm out lion hunting, it's a little different, you know. I'm working with a species that's, you know, 1,800 to 2,000 of them in the entire state. That's a lot of ground to cover. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill a 2-year-old tom or a female unless it's problematic. You know, we've caught a couple females that were problematic on ranchers. The ranchers want them gone, so yeah, I'll let them take them. You know, I mean, I'm not going to tell them what they can do on their own property. You know what I mean? So that's completely their way. If they want to do that, that's great. You know,
Right.
I hate when people shun other hunters about, oh, this guy shot that. Well, maybe he doesn't have 3,000 acres to manage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, you know, if that's what makes you happy. Nobody gave a shit, you know, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So why should they care now? You know?
Right. Well, I had one guy, he literally said to me, he said, why'd you shoot that deer? And I said,
Really?
well, you know, to be quite honest with you, because I wanted to shoot that deer, you know, no other reason why. I mean, I saw a deer, I wanted to shoot it, and I shot it. And I said, but you know, another reason is because if I shoot that deer today, I can be in Oklahoma by tomorrow and be hunting again in Oklahoma. Or I can
Mm-hmm.
keep sitting here in Kansas for one deer that might not show up. And then when I get to Oklahoma and I shoot this deer that gets me fired up, I can be in Missouri by the next day. Or again, I can sit in Oklahoma and chase after that one deer that might not be here. So fast forward by the end of the year, I've got to kill 4 bucks, and you held out for the one that never showed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what drives, like, that's where it gets me. You held out for a 200-inch whitetail, and your property's never going to produce anything more than a 140, but you were too good to shoot the 140s.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the day, if I get to shoot 4 130s, man, I've got a lot more inches on the ground than you got. Like, that's
Well,
just kind of my,
I mean, that's a
pet peeve.
respectable animal, you know, absolutely. I mean, yeah, if that's what they want to do, that's great. But you shouldn't be
It's your
judging other
tag.
people, you know. They just have no room to judge, you know, as far as that's concerned, you know. And let's face it, you know, killing a 200-inch whitetail, everything has to align perfectly. You know, you got to have the property,
yes.
you got to have everything. You know, everything's got to be there. And I talked with a lot of my buddies here in Idaho, and you know, we've noticed over the past 20 years that, you know, mule deer is down here. I mean, it is down. You know, do you go out and find even 160-inch mule deer, you've done something really well. You know, there's a lot of I don't know. You can't really point the finger at just one item, I should say, or one know what you would want to call it. You just can't put the finger at one thing. There's I think a magnitude of things, but it's just different, man. All across the states, no matter what state you're in, or however, if it's what makes you happy, you need to do it. So I mean, chances of trying to do that, is just declining.
Absolutely.
So
now,
I
don't
don't
get me
know.
wrong, dude. There's places that I hunt, there's properties that I hunt, and there's tags that I have. And I'm going to hold out for a big one because I know it's there. But I think the
Sure.
problem is social media has now driven these people to think that there's a 200-inch whitetail hiding around every corner because everybody and their cousin shot a 200. No, they haven't. Or they've paid a lot of money to do it at a place where,
Yeah. Where?
But listen,
where I want to see them.
you have to understand. You're holding out for a 200-inch whitetail on a piece of ground that's never going to produce anything more than a 140.
Yeah.
And so all you're doing is setting yourself up to start resenting hunting, to start resenting the thought of going out. And trust
or jealousy.
me, I fell into
or jealousy.
Or 100% or jealousy. But trust me, I fell into this. I fell into that trap. I fell into that. When I moved to Kansas, I grew up a dumb little redneck from Arkansas, and I thought the moment you go to Kansas or Iowa, or all of a sudden you're going to start seeing 200-inch whitetails. And so the first 2 years I lived here, I was passing up 135s, 140s, beautiful deer, thinking, well, man, it's not a 200, it's not a 180, it's not a 175, it's not a, and then you realize, well, hey, this piece of ground that I have the rights to, I'm never going to see a 200 out here. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I'm not hunting on ground that is quality enough to hold a 200. So, man, I just think it goes back to just simplifying it, hunting for reasons that you enjoy, rather for reasons that other people will applaud you for. But yeah, I think that's, again, I just want to go back. That's another reason I really do admire you, man.
Well, it's that too, and I mean, I appreciate that, and just like with bear hunting, I mean, you just go out and hunt, man. There's so much to hunt. You don't actually. I think with people would not get so fixated because everybody thinks that whitetail's king. That's what you always hear,
Yeah.
and it is in the industry. There's more whitetail hunters than anything else, right? We know that, but there's so many other things to hunt. I love bear hunting. I love running hounds. I love chasing. I love the whole pursuit of it, and I love just baiting bears too. I don't. People like, well, the spot and stalk them. Well, there's so many of them here. It's like, I want to know what I'm hunting. You know what I mean? That's my whole thing there. Unless you're out and around, Personally, I got so much going on with hunts and hunters. I don't have time to just devote my entire season to one animal. You know what I mean? Or to one specific thing. And I think you was touching base about that. Like, you can go to Missouri, you can go to Kansas and Iowa, you can hit a magnitude of different places that you want to hunt. And that's important to you. It's like, well, maybe I want to chip off of hunting or killing a deer in that state. It's the same with me. Right now, I haven't taken a muley in Oklahoma. I thought I had it in the bag this year, but it just didn't happen, yet, so I'm still looking for that, of going to Oklahoma and getting a muley chipped off the block there, so there's always personal goals that you want to do or try to achieve. And there should not be anybody, degrading anybody for that. I guess that's one beauty of freedom of speech, but the also is like, if you get told to, what do you call it? STF, then you need to take it in stride, right? So, I mean, I forgot the U on that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Shane, I always ask you, I asked every guest, what's that hunting 101 tip you got for us? Could be gear, could be mindset, could be whatever, but what's that tip that I can take and make myself a better hunter with?
Well, I mean, per this conversation, I think we've had three podcasts so far, but it's been different. And then cap off of what we talked about, and I think the one tip that I'll suggest to everybody, and it should be a given, but I think the way fast paced everything is do what makes you happy. Because if you're not doing what's going to make you happy, or do what's in hunting in general, I mean, you can take that for a life quote or whatever, but as far as hunting is concerned, if you do what you enjoy and what's going to make you happy on your bow hunting or hunting goals, you'll find that, and it'll make you more focused on what you're trying to achieve than having to worry about what somebody else is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I would highly encourage you to go check out Shane and Bone Maniacs. He's got a TV show. He's got an outfit. He's got a taxidermy shop. He's got a bow shop. He is a great bow tech. He's got a phenomenal shop there. He's a great taxidermist. He's a great
I don't
guide.
know about that.
I would highly.
That's the part.
Oh, come on, give yourself some credit. Give yourself some credit. Guys, when it comes to hunting and being outdoors, I believe there's one product that I use more than anything. That's not my bow. That's not my boots. It's not my anything else other than a binocular harness. If I am outside doing anything outdoors, I've got a binocular harness on. Whether I'm shooting, whether I'm hanging tree stands, whether I'm out hiking, it doesn't matter. If I'm outdoors doing just about anything, I've always got my binocular harness. Alaskan Guide Creations does it, and does it very, very well. I've been using these now for about 8 years, and I absolutely love them. The new system with all the magnets are really good, really accessible, very customizable. Guys, if you're in the market for a new binocular harness, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to check out Alaskan Guide Creations, because they are phenomenal. But guys, honestly, check them out. Whether you are in the market for a new bow, accessories, whether you need some taxidermy work done, or whether you want to just watch an awesome show with a guy laying down a lot of animals, go check out Shane Mowery, Bone Maniacs. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic week.
Thanks, Dylan.